and say, welcome to PIMC Sunday Sangha Gathering.
Are you going to record, Candle?
Oh, that's a good idea. All right, let's see, where is it? I don't see record. Do you see record, Jim?
It's on the bottom.
I know, but for some reason it's not showing up.
Okay, it's being recorded.
Recording in progress.
Okay, good, then, okay, great. Hope that's okay with everybody. It doesn't really go anywhere. It ends up in the archives of PIMC's Zoom account and disappears in a month. So, here we go again. Time to sit. We have sitting for approximately 45 minutes or so, and then we have Qigong with Jim, and we have a Dharma talk and Dharma conversation. And so hello to any newcomers that I may miss if I scroll through the pages. I'm Candle Summers. I go by she and hers. I live in the beautiful Willamette Valley, as I always like to say, the unceded territories of the Multnomah Native Americans, and I try to steward their lands, which I love dearly. I love being in Portland. And our teachings are grounded in Theravadan Buddhism. We're committed to providing a welcoming and a safe environment that's inclusive and accessible. And we value diverse backgrounds and perspectives within our community and our Sangha. Generosity, or dana, is the form of service, presence, volunteering, and resources that's integral to everything that we do, and it sustains the spirit and the heart of the center, which hopefully soon will be opening up after the new year. And that's what makes it your center, our center together. Our generosity of service and finances and being together. And there's a belief that there's an innate capacity for each of us to realize freedom of heart and mind. And in the spirit of the Buddha, we encourage ongoing inquiry through investigation, mindfulness, and awareness. And I like to acknowledge our interconnectedness with all of life and encourage compassion and responsibility in our relationships with other people and the natural world and the integrity of ethical conduct. There's a strong value of the role of community in our development together. And that being said, it's helpful to begin by paying homage or honoring our generosity in being here and the support we have here in our Sangha, this group of like-minded people gathering to explore the teachings of the Buddha and the path of liberation that he and other enlightened beings pointed to. So we can take refuge in the possibility of awakening, even in this lifetime, paying homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. To the Buddha, some like to pay homage to the historical Buddha. Some have a more approach of honoring and reverence. Others have a sense of opening to the possibility of freedom and enlightenment that the Buddha and all of those before him represented. And so this provides a safe container for us to practice in. And there's harmonious living, the practice of sila as the foundation to build upon. And so later on, I'm going to talk today about harmonious living and gathering together of like-minded people and the practice of generosity. But we'll begin with a sit. I'll ring the bell, and if I can skillfully share my screen. Not sure how skillful it's going to be because that little green box is, oh, there it is, good. You will probably see extra messy stuff. It would be helpful if I had this more obviously visible. Let's see if this is the right note to share. Oh, I think it is. Do you see the homages and refuges if you happen to have a big enough screen? Can you see that, Jim?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'll chant it in Pali, the language that was spoken at the time of the Buddha that he taught in. Hindi was also spoken. And I think after going through the Pali, then we can say together, but you'll have your speaker off. You can say it in English as well. So participate in it with me if you'd like to in Pali, and then again in English. So we'll do the homages and the refuges first, and then we'll do the precepts. And these precepts were adopted a little by Robert, who added a positive spin in number B underneath things here. So a little groundwork. Oh, and let's see, what's this over here? Oh, Can everybody else hear me all right? Someone had to leave because they said they couldn't hear me.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thanks, Sherry. Letting the sound of the bell come to the ears. The purity of sound arriving. And so we create this container of safety together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Danang saranam gacchami, Sanghang saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Danang saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranam gacchami. Tatyampi Buddhang saranam gacchami, Tatyampi Danang saranam gacchami, Tatyampi Sanghang saranam gacchami. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dhamma. I take refuge in the Sangha. And for the second time, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And for the third time, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And for this time period of our sitting, and for us to be reminded and understand the precepts of harmonious living, we'll mention the 5 precepts. Panatipata Vairamani Sikapadang Samadhiyami Adina Dana Vairamani Sikapadam Samadhiyami Kamesu Michachara Vairamani Sikapadam Samadhiyami Musawada Vairamani Sikapadang Samadhiyami Surya Merya Majapamaratana Vairamani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the training to refrain from taking the life of any living being. I aspire to become kind and of service to all beings. I undertake the training to refrain from taking that which is not freely given. I aspire to become generous to all beings. I undertake the training to refrain from sexual acts which cause harm. I aspire to nurture love, relationship, and beauty. I undertake the rule of training to refrain from false and harmful speech. I aspire to use speech to create happiness, harmony, and understanding. I undertake the training to refrain from the use of intoxicants. I aspire to cultivate mindfulness and wisdom. And so we take this time with that safe container to settle in our sitting posture. To try to find comfort in sometimes what might not seem so comfortable. Gathering together the mind and heart and body. Just noticing at first where the body might be holding tension, what's happening in the face, behind the eyes. The jaw. Neck and shoulders. Just doing a gentle sweeping through the body. Feeling the cape of the shoulders that we wear. Noticing tensions or attending to muscles along the spine. As we settle into gravity and our grounded seated position, whether we're in a chair or on a cushion. And we can also do a walking practice, or if it's necessary for you to lay down some, that's okay too, as long as you can try to stay as present as possible. Many of you have been meditating for a very long time, and you have the ways in which you like to ground and settle into your practice. You can just let my voice be sound coming to the ears, arriving and passing away. And if you'd like some simple guided instruction, we can start with a single object of the breath, wherever you feel it, at the nostrils or at the diaphragm. You can start with a touch point, noticing the eyelids or the lips, where the hands touch, or the obvious density of the seat upon the cushion. This single object of attention can help us stay single-pointed It can sometimes help us become concentrated. But the important thing is to relax and be aware. If we have busy, restless minds, often focusing on the single object of the breath or the touch point, can help calm the body and calm the mind as we notice one simple activity, breathing in and breathing out. Holding ourselves kindly in the anchor of our breath body container. We want to stay present and see things clearly, with mindfulness coming to the fore. Having the neutral eye of mindfulness, notice what arises. Perhaps stay with it. Through its duration, awareness is present. And knowing it when it disappears. The beginning, the middle, and the end of the breath arising. Noticing if it's a short breath or a long breath. Some of the initial instructions in the Anapanasati Sutta has to do with just being with the breath and knowing that it's a short breath or a long breath on the inhale or the exhale. Being with it and seeing it clearly can bring great gladness to the mind. Being present with exactly what is happening now. We may notice the mind wander. It can be busy thinking, get lost in thought, or sort of caught in confusion. That's what it does. It likes to think and carry on. We may notice sensations in the body. You can gently give them a soft, gentle note of whatever that feeling might be, or a soft, gentle note of thinking. And then we can wake up right there in that moment to notice what's happening next, or to bring the feeling tone to our awareness. Wherever we wake up to awareness, is there a pleasantness there or an unpleasantness there? Or maybe there's confusion or lack of clarity. We can't tell. And we can stay open to the next moment. Mindfulness being present. Awareness landing on the object that we're attending to. You can go back to the breath or back to the touch point. Or you can have a more spacious awareness, holding the whole container of our body, breathing, and being aware of what happens at any of our sense doors. Returning again to the present moment. Just noticing this is what's happening right now. Or asking yourself, what is happening right now? What is the quality of the mind? What is the quality of the heart? Chitta. The word contains both heart and mind. And that's what we do during this formal practice time. Training the mind. Training the heart. To see what arises. To see suffering as it occurs, noticing that we can't grasp or hang on to whatever arises. And if we do, we often find ourselves suffering in discomfort in some way. And we have this opportunity moment by moment to see this and know it, embody it, feel it, arise and pass, be impermanent, not grasping and clinging. The nature of all conditioned things arise and pass away, and we see this clearly with mindfulness. This is the way it is right now. Having just enough energy and effort to be interested in what's happening. Not so much that you're drilling down tightly into something, but you're having spaciousness, like a cauldron, letting effort and interest, energy, concentration, mindfulness, be present. With mindfulness and awareness, we can see clearly. Awareness is arising naturally as we attend to what is in our present moment. Sometimes we're hindered. Our freedom is a little hindered by being tired, or maybe there's anxiety in the mind or restlessness in the mind. Or there may be doubt about the practice or why we're here. We may notice grasping and hanging on to wishing something were happening next or pushing something away. Those are all temporary. They too arise and pass away. We can see them come and go. Maybe we've settled into a more spacious, open awareness. And we can have knowing there as well. Awareness is still present because this also arises and passes away. We're just present moment to moment for what arises. And if we can see clearly the nature of things. They arise for a moment, they stay for a while, they disappear, they're impermanent and non-personal. Those are moments of clarity. Those are moments of awakening, of freedom, without judgment of what's coming and going. We just begin again when we find ourselves wandering, or try to notice what's happening right then when we wake up. Allowing relaxation to be present. Alertness and inquisitiveness in an easeful way of being aware and bringing wisdom of investigation to what's happening right now. And letting it be okay just the way it is. relaxation and stillness in the body, calmness in the mind. This is what we're nurturing. Noticing sometimes if there's a need to move, that there's an intention that occurs just before the movement. And we can notice that intention and be present and aware with the movement. Or if tiredness is happening, we can let our eyes open a little and just let light in. Noticing whatever sight comes to the eyes without grasping it, naming it. We have hearing that comes to the ears, close up and far away. Just hearing is happening. At the ear door, only hearing. At the touch door, only touching. At the thought door, only thinking. Returning again and again to the anchor of this body. The sense doors that create all of our reality. Holding ourselves gently, kindly. And as we do this, we may want to remind ourselves to keep this container of our body and our breath safe and protected. Let our hearts be open to taking care of ourselves happily. Letting our hearts and minds incline toward ease and well-being. Noticing when we have equanimity before the mind falls into extremes. And may we hold ourselves in compassion when things are challenging. Not forgetting to notice moments of joy as they arise. Holding them in our hearts. And as we expand this container of our being, may we include a close friend. Feeling them, thinking of them happy and healthy, that they too may have ease in their lives. May they hold themselves gently and with compassion when difficulty arises. And may we envision them free from their suffering, having compassion. May they too find equanimity and joy. May they see their suffering clearly and be free from it. This practice strengthens our heart and strengthens our concentration and is given in return to us as we hold within our container a benefactor, a teacher, it could be a four-legged creature or a winged one. It could be a child. It could be an actual teacher. You never know who comes to your mind thinking of a benefactor. Maybe the first person that led you into the Dharma. Letting the heart incline toward friendliness and kindness. Holding peace and well-being for this person in our hearts. May we have compassion for this benefactor when they are having challenges. May they have compassion for themselves. Take care of themselves as best they can with kindness, compassion, and wisdom, gentleness. May they notice moments when the mind is cooled, hasn't fallen into extremes. May they have equanimity. And may they find joy, happiness, and the causes of happiness. Noticing ourselves, our bodies seated, gravity, the anchor of our body and our breath. Expanding this heart awareness in our container of our body and breath to include a neutral person. Someone we may not know at all, we only saw crossing the street or walking past our window, or maybe we saw them on one of our devices here and there, or someone you saw at the store, or a neutral person. Just as I wish to be happy, I know that you also wish to be happy. Finding what phrases work for you and including this neutral person. Sometimes more than one shows up. Sometimes a group of people show up. Holding them in our hearts, wishing them kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy and equanimity in whatever way works for you. And as we hold the energy of the neutral person, our benefactor, the close friend, and ourselves, may we let this feeling include other beings, known and unknown to us, our family members, our neighbors, maintenance people, service industry people, physicians, beings we don't know, but wish to have kindness for. Wish that they can be free from their suffering. Feelings in our heart radiating to those beings, known and unknown, seen and unseen, radiating in all directions, that fly, that swim, that crawl, that walk. May all beings everywhere know happiness and the causes of happiness. Be free from their suffering. Be free from enmity and danger. Have well-being. Anicca vata sankara upadavaya domino upakitawa meruchanti te samvapasamo sukho. All conditioned things arise and pass away. All conditioned things that we condition from our senses arise and pass away, are impermanent. Seeing this clearly with mindfulness brings the greatest happiness, which is peace. The unconditioned mind is accessible with training and letting go. And as we are aware with mindfulness of opening our eyes and letting light in, mindfully reaching toward our glasses, getting a drink of water, may we keep this awareness, this mindfulness present, getting ready to stand and move and do some qigong. But before we do, I think I will make a few of the announcements so that I can inform you, if I can pull it up on my iPad here, juggling different devices. If some of you don't go to the website regularly, you might like to know that there's a little Google Calendar there in the middle. And so you can see what's happening every day without having to go to too many other links on the website. But there is regular, of course, most of you participate in the regular 7 o'clock in the morning sit, which is fantastic. And again this evening, if you're not tired of sitting, I'm going to be leading the Insight and Metta practice at 6:30. And we also have Monday night, Jim has his lovely gathering. And I believe there's a book club which rotates around when it has different books. It's closed right now because they're in a book. On Wednesday, Gregory, although he's not teaching live, he has a podcast. So you can go wherever you find your podcasts and look up Wake Up Wednesday, and you'll find Gregory there. And Doug Pullen on Thursdays has his Heart of Freedom. So there's a lot going on, and on December 4th, on Saturday, the first Saturday of the month, I'll be giving a day-long, well, it's not really a day, it's from 9 to 2 with a lunch break, and we'll talk about the faculties, the 5 faculties. And it's really a wonderful opportunity to let yourself further your practice for a few more hours during the day of sitting and walking and moving. Jim and Robert are doing I think it's about 5 days. It's closed right now. I don't know if that will change any, but it's already full. And we've been talking about saving the date for our presentation of the diversity, equity, and inclusion statement and some conversation about the survey. And due to various circumstances, we've decided to postpone it a little, get through the opening of the building, we hope, and probably present it sometime in the middle of January or so. So that's something to look forward to. Meanwhile, we have these fantastic ways of getting together. Even though it's electronic, we still have the joy of seeing each other and the joy of giving each other kindness through our vision here. So take a moment and look at your screen if you can before you get up, and just send some kindness to some of these other people, even though they don't have their cameras on, knowing that we're including ourselves in this big Sangha. I hope I didn't forget anything around announcements. I think that seemed pretty good, not bad for coming out of sitting together. If I think of something else, I'll bring it up later, or maybe Jim will remind me. So I think we'll do some technology switching here, and I'm going to say goodbye to anybody on Facebook and tell you to come back in 20 minutes, or how long do you like to do it, Jim? Take as long as you want.
15 minutes is typical.
Okay. So I'm saying goodbye to